Justin was heartbroken by me. In the 7th year of his studying abroad, he finally brought his new girlfriend home to meet his parents. I was finally declared by the hospital that my 7-year battle with cancer had failed, and I could go home to die. Seeing me being supported by my mother in a wheelchair, a sneer appeared on the corner of Justin's mouth. "Oh, after 7 years, you're doing so poorly, you can't even walk." Listening to his disgusted voice, I calmly pulled down my down jacket sleeve to cover the dense needle marks on the back of my hand. "It's nothing, I just fell while walking and broke a bone." Justin sneered again. "In that case, I'm getting married soon. Why don't you be my bridesmaid?" I still smiled calmly. "No, I'm going to a very far place soon." After saying that, I patted my mother's hand, signaling her to push me home quickly. As soon as I got home and lay in bed with my mother's care, Justin's mother came looking for me. As soon as she entered the door, she looked at me tentatively, hesitatingly. "Sarah, Auntie. Auntie has a request." Looking at her flushed face, although she didn't say the following words, I knew that her purpose in finding me should be the same as it was 7 years ago. After all, 7 years ago, the moment she learned that I had cancer, she was like this, rushing into my hospital room anxiously and with a bit of guilt. When I hadn't even accepted that I had cancer, and was even crying like crazy out of fear, she knelt in front of me. "Sarah, Auntie begs you, don't burden Justin. He was just accepted to a foreign school. If he knew you had cancer, he definitely wouldn't want to study abroad. You and Justin grew up together and have been in love for so many years. Just consider it, Auntie begging you not to delay Justin. Break up with him, okay? Auntie has already thought of a way for you. Auntie has helped you book a boy. You just need to pretend to kiss that boy downstairs. Just pretend to be discovered by Justin, and then pretend to break up with Justin." Just because of these words, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I didn't go to the hospital to check for cancer and treat cancer in the first place. Instead, I coldly pretended to cheat, coldly forced Justin to break up, and ruthlessly forced Justin out of the country. Sure enough, in just a moment, Justin's mother said to me with guilt, "Sarah, don't blame Auntie. Auntie has no choice. Justin's current girlfriend is his classmate from graduate school and doctoral studies abroad. The two are a perfect match in every way. Auntie really doesn't want to ruin such a good marriage. You know, Justin has loved you since he was a child. If he knew the truth back then, I'm afraid. So, can you not meet Justin during this time? Aren't you about to die anyway? It's not suitable for you to go out either, don't you think?" Hearing Justin's mother mention the word death, my mother angrily threw my adult diaper onto the bed. Seeing that she was about to go berserk, I quickly shook my mother's arm coquettishly, and then I calmly looked at Justin's mother. "Auntie, I can promise you not to tell Justin about what happened 7 years ago, but I can't promise not to see Justin." Yes, I can't promise not to see Justin. After all, in these 7 years of fighting cancer, I haven't stopped thinking about Justin for a moment. When I couldn't bear the chemotherapy, it was by firmly pinching the photo of me and Justin that I could continue to endure it. I underwent dozens of surgeries, large and small, and was sent to the emergency room several times, unable to wake up. It was my mother who stood by my bed and shouted hoarsely at me, "Sarah, have you forgotten? You said you wanted to live, to go abroad and personally clear up the misunderstanding with Justin. You said that when you get better, you'll let me take you abroad to find Justin back. If you die, you'll never see Justin again." It was because of my mother's shouts, one after another with Justin's name, that dragged me back from death, time and time again. But although in the end I still failed to fight cancer, and Justin also has his new life, new girlfriend, and is even getting married soon. But in the last days, it would be good to spend some time with Justin simply. That's why, after knowing that Justin had returned to the country, when the doctor said to me that leaving the hospital was equivalent to death, I still chose to forcefully support my body and leave the hospital. But I didn't expect that after sending Justin's mother away, after I was so tired that I fell asleep and woke up, I heard Justin's voice outside. Hearing his voice, I was a little surprised. You know, Justin hated me so much 7 years ago. He stood in front of my house for 3 days and 3 nights, just to choke my neck and ask me why I betrayed him. I cried and said that I didn't love him, and he smashed the glass in the stairwell with a punch. That day, although he didn't lay a hand on me, he loathed me. If he met me in the stairwell, he would turn around and go back the way he came. Even when he passed my door, he would frown in disgust. Even the small store that I used to go to with him, he didn't go to anymore. He even loathed it to the point that whenever he heard my name, he would reprimand the person who mentioned my name with a cold face. What's the point of mentioning Sarah? Don't you find it disgusting? I find it disgusting. Even on the day he went to the airport to go abroad, I braved the heavy rain to see him off. When he saw me appear, he only threw the couple ring that he used to buy with me, and the phone filled with all the photos of me and him, at my feet with a sneer, and left without looking at me. But I didn't expect that after 7 years, he would take the initiative to come to my house. But in just a moment, through the open door, I understood the ins and outs. Justin held his fiancée's hand tightly. "Auntie, are you minding what happened 7 years ago? That's why you don't want Sarah to take me to choose a wedding planning company, to choose a ring. Auntie, I haven't liked Sarah for a long time, and I've already let it go. After all, we grew up together, and if we can't be lovers, we can be friends." As soon as Justin finished speaking, the girl standing next to Justin also said, "Auntie, Justin has already told me about him and Sarah. Although Sarah cheated 7 years ago, she was young at the time, and it takes two to tango. Our Justin must have had a problem too. Moreover, I have to thank Sarah. If she hadn't given up Justin, I wouldn't have met such a good man as Justin. So Auntie, there's really no need to keep dwelling on what happened 7 years ago. Moreover, I also suggested that Sarah help us choose a wedding planning company. After all, Justin and I haven't been back to China for 7 years, and we're really not familiar with the country. Letting older people make the decisions, the aesthetics are really a bit difficult for me to accept. 7 years ago, when I was first diagnosed with cancer, my biggest wish was that Justin could forget me, could let me go. But now when I hear Justin mention 7 years ago so calmly, mention me so calmly, even told his current girlfriend about my affairs without any concealment, my heart still felt a dense pain. And my mother, listening to Lucy's words, one after another, about cheating, and with a hidden meaning, instantly turned red with anger. Her lips trembled several times before she shouted a sentence to Justin. "You and your mother are both shameless." Hearing my mother's words, my heart tightened, and I supported myself to sit up and shouted towards the outside. "Mom, come into the room and help me into the wheelchair. I'll talk to Justin myself." My mother came into the room. Seeing that I had sat up, her face was still very ugly, but I hugged her directly. "Mom, just help me fulfill my last wish before I die, okay?" My mother's eyes instantly turned red, but she, who always loved me, still went to the dressing table to get me lipstick, a wig, and put a down jacket on me. As soon as she pushed me out the door, Justin frowned. "What's wrong with you? You were delicate when you were a kid, and you're still so delicate after you grow up. Aren't you just limping? Your mother is so old, and you still need her to take care of you." Looking at his disgusted expression, I smiled calmly. "The doctor said my fracture is a bit serious, and I shouldn't go to the ground for a while." As soon as I finished speaking, Lucy, standing next to Justin, said to me, "Sarah, don't argue with Justin, he's just used to it abroad. Except for me, he has this stinky face to everyone." My heart felt a bit astringent again. Justin did have a stinky face to everyone, but before he was to me. I quickly pinched the strangeness in my heart, and then calmly looked at Lucy. "Do you really want me to accompany you to choose a wedding planning company? If you really need it, I'll go with you." Lucy nodded immediately. Of course, of course." After that, I exchanged a few more pleasantries with the two before sending them out the door. And that night, Justin called me, saying that he would let me accompany him to the wedding planning company tomorrow. The fingers holding the phone were clenched tightly. One was greedy for his voice. The second was because of nervousness. After all, it had been 7 years since I had heard his voice alone on the phone like this. 7 years ago, I used to hide in the quilt every night, listening to his mellow, deep voice to fall asleep. But just when I was immersed in the memories, a female voice sounded. "Justin, come and help me blow dry my hair." I suddenly came back to my senses and quickly said, "Okay." And Justin hung up the phone the moment he heard my reply. Hearing the dial tone in the phone, Tears suddenly welled up. Even though I was prepared, seeing it with my own eyes, hearing it with my own ears, that Justin already belonged to another girl, my heart still ached with a dull pain. Because the time Justin had arranged to meet me last night was 10 a.m. Because I was nervous, I had my mom push me downstairs to wait at 9:30 a.m. But I waited until 12 p.m. And Justin never came. He even hung up on the calls I made to him. My mom told me to go home several times, but I didn't want to. After all, this trip took so much of my strength, and after this time, I might never be able to leave the house again. But thankfully at 1 p.m., I received a call from Justin saying they were coming downstairs. My mom was very unhappy, and it took a lot of convincing to keep her from showing it. As soon as I got in the car, Lucy looked at me with a delicate smile. "I'm so sorry, Sarah. Justin was so rowdy last night that I couldn't get out of bed this morning." My palm clenched slightly, and Justin, who had stowed my wheelchair and got into the driver's seat, glanced at me in the rearview mirror and coldly said to Lucy, "Why are you explaining so much to her?" My heart felt a little bitter, but I still calmly waved to my mom outside the car window. Justin drove very fast, even shaking so much that I felt nauseous, but I silently endured it. This reminded me of 7 years ago, when Justin first got his driver's license. He would always drive his dad's car to take me out to play. Knowing that I got carsick, he always drove smoothly and steadily. Before, I always got carsick when I took taxis or buses, but I never got carsick in Justin's car. So when Justin slammed on the brakes again, and I couldn't support myself, crashing heavily against the back seat, and my stomach was churning like it was about to throw up, I finally couldn't help but whimper. And Justin, hearing my voice, sneered again. "Sarah, you don't think I'll still accommodate you like I did 7 years ago, trying not to change gears, not to brake?" I silently wiped away the tears from the corners of my eyes, and then calmly said, "No, you should accommodate Lucy now, she's your girlfriend." Justin sneered again. "You're right." After that, he stepped on the gas again, and my body crashed heavily against the back seat again. My back hurt, but a smile appeared on the corner of my lips. It's good to have hate, at least while I'm alive, in Justin's heart. At least I still have a little bit of a place. I didn't feel uncomfortable for too long after that, and we arrived at our destination. When I got out of the car, Justin carried me. Being in his arms again for a moment, I almost couldn't hold back my tears. But thankfully, Justin quickly put me down after carrying me out of the car, quickly putting me back in the wheelchair. He even seemed disgusted with me, and after putting me in the wheelchair, he eagerly had Lucy get 2 wet wipes and desperately scrubbed his hands. And Lucy also awkwardly explained to me, "I'm sorry, Sarah, Justin has a cleanliness fetish. He feels disgusted if any woman other than me touches him." Watching Justin's actions, I lowered my head, pursed my lips, pretending not to see his actions or hear Lucy's words. After that, Justin and Lucy linked arms and pushed me into a Chinese restaurant. As soon as we sat down at the table, Justin took the initiative to pick up the menu and ordered several spicy dishes. Hearing the names of the dishes he ordered, my heart felt a little bitter, because I never used to eat spicy food, and Justin didn't either. Who he ordered them for was self-evident. And I didn't make things difficult for myself. Even eating is difficult for me now, let alone eating such strong flavors. So I asked the waiter to add a light vegetable soup. But for some reason, Justin suddenly blew up. "You're as thin as a ghost and you're still trying to lose weight." My heart felt a wave of intense bitterness because of Justin's sudden concern. But it was only for a moment, and then I smiled and said, "Ryan likes me a little thinner." Ryan was the imaginary affair partner that Justin's mother had made up. I hadn't seen Justin since he had been so angry that he went abroad. And when Justin heard my words, his face instantly turned ashen. And Lucy, sitting next to Justin, immediately smiled and said to me, "Sarah, don't misunderstand. Justin is a doctor now, so he gets angry whenever he sees someone dieting. When we were abroad before, Justin scolded me many times because I was making a fuss about losing weight." As she spoke, Lucy smiled and looked at Justin. "Justin, tell me, am I right?" Justin didn't look at Lucy, he just angrily stood up and pushed away the chair. "I'm going to the bathroom." After that, Justin didn't look at me again, or at Lucy, and turned and walked towards the bathroom. And I, watching his back, felt another wave of bitterness in my heart, So did I mess up again? Messed up Justin's new life. Messed up Justin's new love. My heart filled with guilt, and Lucy, sitting across the table, directly picked up a cup of hot water and splashed it on my face. You little bitch. Do you think I'm stupid? You're repeatedly acting pathetic to seduce my fiancé. My cheeks burned with pain from the hot water Lucy splashed on me, but I just clenched my palms tightly, and then apologized guiltily. I'm sorry if I made you misunderstand. I apologize to you. Lucy just stood up with a sneer, and then she walked over and slapped me in the face. Do you think that if you pretend to be crippled, Justin will change his mind? I'm telling you, Justin will be mine for the rest of his life. Don't think that just because you're Justin's first love, you can steal him away. My cheeks stung and tingled from Lucy's slap. I could tolerate her splashing water on me. After all, I was shamelessly longing for Justin's tenderness. But she couldn't slap me. So, without thinking, I pushed her away. Lucy, if you dare to hit me again, I'll call the police. But as soon as I finished speaking, Lucy, for some reason, suddenly fell to the ground. Suddenly began to wail. Oh, my stomach, help, someone is attacking a pregnant woman. I looked at her lying on the ground, looking at my hands in disbelief. You know, I've been sick for 7 years, and even getting dressed makes me tired. Sometimes I can't even hold a cup of water steadily. I don't have the strength to push Lucy over at all. I only pushed her then so she wouldn't hit me again. But who knew, Lucy suddenly lay on the ground. And just as I was at a loss, Justin suddenly appeared in the lobby. Seeing Lucy lying on the ground, he eagerly ran towards Lucy. Lucy, Lucy, how are you? Lucy immediately cried, crying and clinging tightly to Justin's collar. Justin, save me, save the baby in my belly, Sarah, Sarah, she's trying to kill me. As soon as you left, she started scolding me, saying that you were the trash she didn't want, and that anytime she wanted you, you would lick your face and go back to beg her. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but splash her with a cup of water. But who knew? She became even more angry, and opened her mouth and began to curse me as a vicious little bitch, and said that I was a slut who specialized in picking up men she didn't want. I couldn't help it, so I slapped her. After that, she angrily pushed me away. You know I'm pregnant, and my body isn't good. I can't stand even the slightest bump. Hearing Lucy's words, I was completely stunned in place. My lips trembled several times before I could speak. Justin, listen to me, it's not like that. I really didn't. But who knew that Justin would erupt with a huge roar? Sarah, how can you be so vicious? 7 years ago, you shamelessly cheated on me with other men. 7 years later, I'm about to get married, but you think I'm good again, and you even beat my fiancé. You dare to hit my woman, don't you? Today, I'll let you taste what it's like to hit my woman. Saying that, he walked over and angrily kicked my wheelchair several times. He even heavily pushed my wheelchair backwards, towards the table. The wheelchair hit the table, the bowls on the table fell to the ground, and the table flipped over. And my wheelchair also flipped over. My head crashed heavily on the corner of the table, instantly swelling and bleeding. My head was buzzing, and even my body was trembling. But Justin didn't look at me, he just eagerly picked up Lucy, and eagerly kissed Lucy's lips while she was crying in pain. Be good, don't cry, I'll take you to the hospital right away. After that, he didn't look at me again, turned and carried Lucy towards the door. And I, looking at Lucy's provocative smile and Justin's back, suddenly laughed. Laughed until tears flowed. This also reminded me of when I was 18, when a man molested me on the bus and touched my ass. At that time, Justin was still a reckless youth. Enraged, he grabbed the man, who was a head taller and much stronger than him, and like an enraged beast, repeatedly punched him in the face. You piece of trash, you dare touch my woman? I'll beat you to death. The passengers in the car were terrified. Only I was crying, desperately pulling on Justin's arm, begging him, crying and telling him to stop, before Justin halted. Before I was Justin's woman, so he desperately protected me. Now the person in Justin's heart had changed to another girl, so he desperately wanted to protect her, even if the person he hit was me. My heart ached, trembling. The waiters gradually gathered around. Then the police arrived. The instant I saw the police, my strength suddenly drained away. I desperately grabbed the policeman's hand and said, "Tell my mom, don't pursue this. Tell my mom, this was my choice. Tell my mom I'm sorry I won't be able to be with her anymore. My heart felt bitter, but for some reason, I had no regrets. After all, I had been fighting cancer for 7 years, waiting for 7 years. My biggest dream was just to see Justin one last time. I saw him. My dream came true. That's enough. Justin didn't know why, but whenever he remembered the deep affection, farewell, and even pain mixed in Sarah's eyes when she last looked at him, a feeling of panic would well up in his heart. Even when the doctor told him that Lucy's baby was fine, he didn't feel any joy. After Lucy fell asleep, he urgently called Sarah. After all, his relationship with Lucy was an accident. Lucy was his junior in medical school abroad. She pursued him for 7 years. Until the 6th year, Lucy deliberately got him drunk and disguised herself as Sarah, and he had relations with Lucy. Afterwards, although he learned the truth, he still apologized to Lucy and told her that he really didn't like her, and could never like her. Although Sarah no longer loved him, and even moved away from him, he would only ever love Lucy. At the time, Lucy cried, trembling uncontrollably. But he still ruthlessly rejected her. But Lucy didn't give up, and continued to pursue him. Until half a year later, his mother suddenly sent him a wedding invitation. It was Sarah's. Sarah was getting married, to the boy who had betrayed him and cheated on him. That night, he cried alone in his rented room all night, even drinking until he had a stomach hemorrhage. At the hospital abroad, it was Lucy who took care of him, running around. At that time, he softened and agreed to Lucy's pursuit. Even 6 months later, Lucy became accidentally pregnant. When Lucy begged him to marry her, although his heart ached, he still agreed to Lucy's request, returned to China, and prepared to get married. His heart ached with numbness, especially when he called Sarah 10 times and she didn't answer. He was forced to call Sarah's mother. As soon as the call connected, Sarah's mother scolded him with a choked voice. "What are you calling for?" Justin's heart felt bitter again. He mustered his courage and asked, "Is Sarah busy at the restaurant today?" There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Nothing's going on. You don't need to call anymore." With that, Sarah's mother hung up the phone. Justin listened to the beeping sound in the phone, and his heart felt suffocated again. Panicked, he was forced to call his own mother. As soon as the call connected, his mother chattered. "Look at you, Justin. How could you push Sarah and make her fall? You know how much Sarah's mother dotes on her." I was scolded for a whole hour in the hospital room before her mother calmed down a bit. Listening to his mother's words, Justin's heart instantly relaxed. Then he calmly asked, "Is Sarah's injury serious?" "It's not a big deal, just a cut on her forehead. It's already bandaged. Her fiancé came to pick her up, and they've gone to her bridal suite." Hearing the words bridal suite, Justin's heart ached again. He casually exchanged a few more greetings with his mother before hanging up the phone. After that, his time seemed to be fast-forwarded. His mother not only moved the wedding date forward, but even made him get a marriage certificate with Lucy in advance. He wanted to resist, but every time he passed Sarah's house and saw her closed door, he would fall into despair again. What was there for him to resist? From beginning to end, the person who didn't want him, who didn't need him, was Sarah. Before the wedding, he tried to contact Sarah several times, but the messages he sent disappeared without a trace. Sarah didn't reply to him once. Until the night before the wedding, he contacted Sarah one last time with trembling fingers. But to his surprise, Sarah not only blacklisted his phone number, but even blacklisted him on WeChat. So, was Sarah's fiancé that important? So important that Sarah wasn't even willing to be friends with him. But this was also good. At least he could give up and marry Lucy properly, and be a good father. On the day of the wedding, everything seemed to be a blur. He kept searching for Sarah's figure in the venue. Sarah didn't come, and Sarah's mother didn't come either. Looking at the seats that were supposed to be for Sarah's family, but were occupied by other relatives and friends. His heart ached again, until after the wedding, during the toasting. When he went to the table with his high school classmates, just as he was about to raise his glass to toast, Sarah's best friend suddenly looked at him with a sneer. "Justin, just drinking 1 glass of wine, how can that be enough? You should at least drink 3 glasses, toasting the dead person you personally killed." As soon as Sarah's best friend finished speaking, a high school classmate standing next to her tugged at her. "What are you doing, Kelly?" Kelly pushed him away. "What am I doing? I can't stand you trash anymore." As she spoke, she glanced at his mother standing next to him. "And you, if you're going to send me an invitation, don't send me a red envelope before the wedding to shut me up. So annoying." With that, Kelly pushed the chair away, turned around, picked up her bag, and was about to leave. As he watched her leaving figure, he didn't know why, but a feeling of panic rose in his heart. So he could only anxiously, frantically call out to Kelly. "Kelly who died?" Kelly smiled mockingly, tears dripping from the corners of her eyes as she smiled. "Who died?" "Sarah died, that's who." After she finished speaking, Kelly turned around and walked towards the hotel exit. The wine glass in his hand instantly crashed to the ground, making a clatter sound. Justin turned to look at his mother in disbelief. "She said Sarah died. Why would Sarah die? Didn't you say she was preparing for the wedding?" His mother's face instantly turned pale. Lucy, who was standing next to him, quickly stepped forward and grabbed him tightly. "Justin, I'll explain this to you later. We're getting married now." Justin looked at Lucy in disbelief. "You knew too?" Lucy's face instantly turned pale. And at the table with his high school friends, everyone's faces turned pale. Looking at everyone's expressions, Justin suddenly laughed, laughing until tears streamed down his face. So everyone in the world knew that Sarah had died, but he was the only one who didn't know. His heart ached. Trembling, he grabbed his best friend from high school and went out. As soon as they reached the hotel entrance, Justin's legs buckled and he knelt down. "I beg you, tell me the truth." The man was frightened by his kneeling, and then, without any concealment, told him the truth. The moment he learned the truth, Justin laughed. He laughed particularly sarcastically. So what was this? So he was the dumbest, the most foolish one all along. He was indeed stupid, he was foolish. After all, he had clearly noticed Sarah's abnormal weight loss. He had clearly noticed Sarah's abnormal weight, but he, because of hatred, forced himself to wipe his hands with wet wipes, to force himself not to ask. But even if he had asked, Sarah wouldn't have said it. After all, Sarah always had a gentle personality on the outside, but once she had made up her mind, she would never go back on it. Just like during the high school midterm exam, Sarah couldn't get out of bed because of a stomach ache. In order to prevent him from missing the exam because of her, she pretended that everything was fine and went to the exam hall, even personally escorting him into the classroom, and only then did she faint outside the exam hall. His heart ached with a dense, painful sensation, especially when he thought of the scene in the restaurant, when he pushed Sarah. He had been afraid to recall that scene these days. After all, on the night he met Sarah on the way home, Lucy had cried and told him. She said that if Sarah still loved her, she was willing to give him up, to stop pestering him, to withdraw voluntarily, and to have an abortion. At that time, he felt deeply guilty towards Lucy, so when he saw Sarah insulting Lucy, when he heard Lucy crying and saying that Sarah had pushed her down, that the child in her belly was going to be gone, his guilt reached its peak at that moment. That's why he couldn't help but act against Sarah, but he didn't actually hit her, he just kicked her wheelchair a few times and gave her a hard shove. Actually, he regretted it at that moment and wanted to help Sarah up, but Lucy cried and told him that she seemed to be bleeding down there, and he really couldn't bear the guilt. After all, Sarah had just a limp leg, falling shouldn't be a big deal, but Lucy was a pregnant woman, falling could be fatal. So he chose Lucy, whose condition was more serious. His heart ached and trembled again because of the memories. Through the tearful rain, he looked at his hands in disbelief, his body shivering. So he had personally killed his former beloved, the girl he once cherished to the bone? A dense pain rose in his heart, and Justin finally couldn't bear the pain and ran away. He ran to the cemetery where Sarah was buried. When he looked at Sarah's photo, which was still from when she was 18, he could finally no longer hold back the torment and burst into loud sobs. After that, he stayed at the cemetery for a full 15 days, and people came every day. His mother Lucy. Everyone tried to persuade him to go back, but each time he just calmly stroked Sarah's photo. He really couldn't understand why he was the one who personally killed Sarah when he loved her so much. Until the 16th day, Sarah's mother came, and she slapped him in the face. "Get out, my daughter doesn't need you here pretending, acting pitiful." Also, you're already married, and you're about to have a child. Do you want my daughter to be cursed even after she's dead? His cheek was sore from the slap, but he couldn't say any words of apology. He could only kowtow 3 times in front of Sarah's mother, like a devout penitent. That's right, he was married now. What right or face did he have to stay in front of Sarah's grave? He could only leave in a panic, he could only turn away in pain. Afterwards he went home. As he was about to enter the door, he heard voices talking inside. Mom, what should we do? Will Justin really not come home? Don't worry, he'll come back. I already went to see Sarah's mother. Sarah's mother is just like Sarah, soft-hearted. I just mentioned a few of her daughter's last words, like I used to, and she was willing to help me, to make Justin come home. It's all that Sarah's fault. If she hadn't seduced our Justin in the first place, our Justin wouldn't have been completely fooled by her. Luckily, she got cancer herself, and I tricked her into thinking about Justin's future, so she broke up with Justin herself. You're so clever, knowing to contact me so I could send Justin Sarah's wedding invitation in time. Otherwise, how would Justin have been willing to marry you? Don't worry, Justin is my son. I know his personality best. After he gets home, push everything onto me, and then cry to him about it with the child in your belly. I guarantee he'll live well with you in the future. As for that Sarah, she's dead, so don't worry about her anymore. But you really were good. I only casually hinted at a few things, telling you to alienate Sarah and Justin, but I didn't expect you to directly make Sarah die. That's good. A dead person. Let's see how she can compete with me for my son. Hearing the conversation inside, Justin curled his lips into a sarcastic smile, and cried again. So everyone was being played by his own mother. This reminded him of his childhood, when his mother was always very strict with him. As long as he got close to anyone, even if he smiled and said, "You're so pretty, auntie," to a random aunt on the street, his mother would get extremely angry, slap him and beat him with a belt. The same went for academic performance. If his mother told him to get 100 points, he had to get 100 points. Otherwise, he would be punished by being made to kneel at the door for an hour for every point he missed. So he was especially fond of Sarah at that time. The Sarah who would secretly peel sunflower seeds for him at his doorstep every time he was forced to kneel, every time he was beaten, who would secretly read picture books to him, who would secretly stuff candy into his mouth. That's why he spoiled her so much when he grew up. Because in his heart, Sarah was his only son, his only reason for living in this world. But what should he do? His little son was dead, killed by his own hands. A dense pain rose in his heart, and he just calmly pushed open the door, calmly looking at the 2 people who had heard the sound and stood up in a panic. He calmly looked at Lucy. This is the last time I'll ask you, do you want to divorce me and abort the child? If you don't, then let's rot and stink together. Lucy was stunned for a moment, then rushed over anxiously. Listen to me, Justin, it really wasn't my fault. Justin just calmly shook off her hand. So your answer is no divorce? Lucy paused for a moment. Yes, I won't divorce. Justin smiled sarcastically, and reached out to stroke Lucy's face. Then let's atone for Sarah's sins together. Lucy was instantly stunned in place. And Justin walked out of the house again. After that, he went to the Macau casino and gambled away all the money in the house, the car, and even all the belongings. Only then did he return home in a mess. Afterwards, he watched like a passerby as the creditors frantically smashed his house. Frantically beat his mother, beat Lucy. Looking at the 2 people's barely surviving state, he just smiled calmly. I already said, no one can escape. Lucy widened her eyes in terror, clutching her constantly bleeding stomach, and crawled over crying. Justin, I beg you, let me go please. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I really shouldn't have deliberately framed Sarah. Justin looked at the long trail of blood dragged across the floor. Okay, I'll let you go. After that, he went to the Civil Affairs Bureau with Lucy, took on all the debts, and let Lucy leave. This was his last act of kindness. After that, his life seemed to be completely chaotic. Every day he drank at home, and his mother began to plead with him bitterly every day, begging him to stop. But each time Justin just looked at her calmly. Isn't this what you wanted? The appearance of a good son who is forever controlled by you? Look, I'm listening to you so much now, staying with you to be beaten to death. Justin's mother was finally frightened. She started to cry, crying and begging him to let her go. But Justin just looked at her calmly. Is crying useful? When Sarah cried, why didn't you think about sparing her? When I cried, why didn't you think about sparing me? In this way, under the torment of increasingly painful days, Justin's mother finally couldn't bear it and committed suicide. After the suicide, the police contacted him countless times to ask him to claim the body, but he didn't go. He just calmly told the police to bury his mother's body, cremate it, destroy it, whatever they wanted. After all, Sarah was dead, and his whole life was ruined as well. And 1 year later, Justin really couldn't hold on any longer. Those he hated were gone, some dead, some gone. That day, when he missed Sarah so much that he couldn't take it anymore, he decided to die. And on that day, when he was about to jump into the river to commit suicide, Sarah's mother came to find him. Justin, I really don't want to care about you. But you are my daughter's last regret. Do you know why Sarah was able to survive for so many years with cancer? She suffered from the most painful pancreatic cancer in the world. But every time, as long as I told her, Sarah, you have to persevere, Justin is still waiting for you to find her abroad. Every time, even when it was the hardest, she would grit her teeth and persevere. Justin, when Sarah was alive, her greatest wish was for you to be well. If you die today, Sarah will never forgive you. Because of Sarah's mother's words, Justin cried uncontrollably, his whole body trembling. To be well. But without Sarah, his life wouldn't be well. During the 7 years abroad, he wasn't well, living like a walking corpse. After returning home, he wasn't well either, living every day as if he were being slowly sliced to death. But Sarah wanted him to be well, but what should he do? This was Sarah's wish. Even if he lived in pain, he had to live. After that, he went down the overpass. After that, he started pretending to be a normal person, worked hard to pay off the loans, and even became a doctor. Everyone praised him as a good doctor. But no one knew that his heart was already empty. He just wanted to accumulate more merit, do more good deeds, and ensure that Sarah would be reborn into a good life in her next life. Finally, after he had been a doctor for who knows how long, one day after working for a full 72 hours, he died suddenly on the operating table. Everyone frantically tried to save him. As long as he only smiled and curved the corners of his lips, he was finally free. He had finally properly fulfilled Sarah's last wish, to live a good life.